Hello and welcome to ABW Radio Show. Yeah, I know. It's not good. In any case, sorry about the camera, but it's screwed. I've had enough and I can't be bothered anymore with it. Tonight, I'm Jason. I'm your host. And today, I'm joined by that London guy. It's Karl. Say hello, Karl.
Yeah, whatever.
Also joining us, we have John Welsh. Say hello, John.
Oh, Jace, you all right?
No. Okay. Yeah, I'm not. In the box, we have EC, Archie, and 235100. Phil Weaver, Ivan Diazi. Who else is there? Lossless is there. Stan the Man 450. Mon the Rangers. What, mate? What the hell's that? That's yeah. I don't know about that one. Carlito Alguna, Marlon Pato. Sorry guys, I'm trying to get through you all, yeah. Hassan Ramzan, K-Man 1867. Who else is there? Oh, LDF Ledifi Dumfifi. I got that right. Loki 73. J Rob's there. Hey, J Rob, you right, pal? And Matt Carr's there. And Shafiq 1 is there. Dan Fry's there. Hello, all. I hope you're all. I know how you all feel, so never mind. Let's get on with this. We're going to go straight to it. Oh, Tayo Adele's there. Ahmed Saeed's there. Jonathan Whitkin's there. Daniel Kupka's there. They're all coming in now. Right, okay. Piyush Kapoor's there. Jamie Fitzgerald, Sidhu 7549. Right, we're going to get into it, guys. Karl, lineups. No Aaron Ramsey, groin strain, going for a 3-man midfield. What did you think of that before the game?
I felt we needed to go for a 3-man midfield because Tottenham's midfield was definitely stronger than ours. I was disappointed not to see Ramsey there. You know, coming off the back of a hat-trick, you know that he would have been up for this game. He would have been buzzing. He would have been ready to just absolutely, go into this game. And it's unfortunate that he's got a groin strain. Before the game, I thought, adequate replacement, Jack Wilshere, I thought that he would have come into the game and done really, really well. Aubameyang starting, I thought, was obviously the right choice. I thought that the team that we picked was the right team. There was nothing. Russell Wenger didn't make any selection problems. I thought this team was the team that should have been picked.
Yeah, I agree with you. Mate. It looked like a solid setup. John, as the game started, within the first 2 minutes, you kind of knew we're playing counter-attack football. We're going to soak it up and we're going to have a go at them on the counter. Were you happy with that? What was your thoughts on it?
Yeah, I thought it was the best way to approach the game from the start. I watched the Liverpool Spurs game last week, and we can't, or we don't anyway, we don't press the way Liverpool do. And although Liverpool did it for the first half, second half, they just basically run out of steam and couldn't do it. And the thing they were struggling to do was just hit the long ball and use the pace they've got. And I thought that's perfect for us. We've got Aubameyang in, we've got Ozil and Mkhitaryan who can find him. Just, have a tight midfield in front of the back four, soak up pressure. As soon as you get the ball, recycle it quickly, move it out, get it out to Ozil or Mkhitaryan, or just hit the long diagonal for Aubameyang to hit and to run onto. And we saw that early on, like he won the corner and stuff like that. And I just thought, just 10, 15 minutes, just keep it tight. Don't do anything stupid. Don't give away an early goal. Our away form has been dreadful, let's be honest. It's a derby game, so it's a little bit different. It's not at White Hart Lane, it's at Wembley again, so it's a little bit of a weird atmosphere. I had a bit of a weird feeling going in. The beard is groin strain. Yeah, sorry people, the shit beard's gone a little bit. Shit stubble now. But yeah, I thought the I thought the approach was right from the start, and it looked like a good setup. I was fine with giving them the ball. They were always going to press high, so it was just trying to hit that ball in over the top and find our creative men and let them use the space in behind to find a gap for Aubameyang to run into.
Yeah. You know, there was before I go on to this, Arsenic Gunner in case is there, Mike Adams, True Gunner, True Gunner, sorry, Joe Madeira 1993, Gelenio 23, Rudy Rastlos, Nina 97's there, Stephen Edwards is there, can't blame Ramsey, Thunder Road's there. Oh, Thunder Road's a bit cheeky last week, twat. In any case, yeah, let's go. We were playing the counter attack, and Wilshere played a fabulous ball through to Aubameyang, which was called offside. Which, when we look back at it, it wasn't offside. It was, he was bang on. Karl, how frustrating was that?
Of course it was, but these things go around and come around. He was offside last week against Everton. He was onside this week, and it didn't count. So, unfortunately, these things happen. It was frustrating, especially in the derby game. You want the decisions to be correct, and well, not just a derby game. Every game, you want decisions to be correct. It just seems that we tend to be on the wrong side of offside decisions so often. It's unreal. There's this rule or that you should play the advantage or give the benefit of the doubt to the attacker, but it never happens. It never ever happens, or at least not with us, or not very often, I should say, because it did happen last week. But all the time you just think to yourself, the benefit of the doubt, give it to the attacker, and linesmen or assistant referees have a hard job, of course they do, and you want them to make the right choices. But today, yes, it was the wrong choice, but I do have a bit of sympathy because that was a hard call to make. It wasn't the easiest, if I'm honest.
Yeah, I agree with you there, but they have to give the benefit of the doubt to the attacking player. That's what you're supposed to do.
Yeah, definitely. You should do that. And we got it last week. Last week we got the benefit, the advantage, and he was offside. This week we didn't. So I'm not going to make that be the excuse of the reason why we didn't play well today, and that wasn't the reason why we lost the game. Just that one decision. Yes, it could have been a game changer. Definitely, of course, it could have, because you don't know what it could have gone and done. But I'm not as angry about that decision, apart from other things. So it is what it is.
No. I think you summed that up quite well, John. The referee early doors kind of set his stall out. He was going to play an open game. He wasn't buying any diving about. You saw Dele Alli go to the ground very easily and him ignore it and say no chance. We can't blame officials for this game, can we? Let's just set a stall up now. The officiating, I thought, was decent. Okay, a couple of wrong calls here and there, but that's just human error. But he let the game flow. He let the guys play, yeah?
Yeah, I thought he let it's a derby, and I know that football should always be played exactly the same way, so the same rules, but he let some tackles go that were a little bit harder than you might get a foul for in a game. But it wasn't all one-sided. It was for both teams. I didn't think the ref did anything wrong today. I don't think he got any wrong decisions. Yeah, the lino, that Aubameyang one, he was onside, but like if you watch that at full speed, I didn't have a clue whether he was on or not. I didn't know. It wasn't until they showed it and they've got it bang stop, and you can see the lines put on the pitch and everything for you. It's so tight. That happens. It's human error. It's not like it's other games where we've had really, really bad officiating. I thought the ref was fine today, and I thought the spirit the game was played in. There was good hard tackles, swinging in, bit of grief from some players, bit of lip back and forth to each other. That's fine. But I didn't think there was any problem with it at all.
No. I just want to set that out straight away, because there were a couple of challenges later on which we'll speak about, but it was decent. I'll stick with you here, John. There was a Hector cross to Jack, middle of the box. Jack's in the middle of the box, is wrong foot, unfortunately, and he tried to take on the volley. Ups went wrong. It's on his wrong foot. Very difficult for him, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think if that's on the ground, then maybe he gets a clean strike on it. Whether he finishes or not on his right foot, I don't know. But he is very one-footed. It's a weird. I don't know if it sounds really stupid. Is it just me, or are left-footed players more one-footed than right-footed players? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It sounds backwards, because if you're right-footed, it should be the same. But for some reason, whenever I watch a left-footed player, they really don't look like they can kick a ball with a right foot at all. Whereas a right-footed player, they're not great on the left, but I don't know. Yeah, it's just a thing like that. But Jack was kind of trying to do the Ramsey bit today, wasn't he? Making those runs into the box, trying to be the midfielder to get past from the centre anyway, to get beyond the Aubameyang to open up some more space. But it's a good ball from Hector.
We didn't often have the ball, to be fair. So
Yeah. Well, especially in the first half, we didn't. But the few times we broke, he was the one generally trying to get forwards.
Yeah.
I thought Hector was good today, and he was, when he had the opportunity, he was really, really pushing to get down that right hand side. Again, it wasn't very often, but he was trying to get in there to get a cross in, and he was trying to do it early, as quick as possible. Crosses weren't always great, but he was trying to make that, or he was trying to be, if it's gone down the left, he was trying to be the man coming in at the back post to get on the end of things. We saw that a couple of times today. So I actually thought he put in a decent performance, considering he didn't have a lot of opportunity to get forward in the game.
He was one of the brighter players on the pitch, to be fair. Karl, it was, the first half was a really cagey affair. You had a Kane header where I thought he was offside, he missed the header anyway. We were under pressure a lot. They had the majority of the ball. But we had a tidy shape to us, We didn't offer a massive amount going forward, but our shape was good. And we kind of sucked it up well. What did you look at that way, or did you see it kind of differently?
No, definitely. I see it the same. I think.
Bear me. Sorry, mate. I'm just going to do one thing. Archie, Cech was our best player in the park today. Stop talking shit. How many saves did he make? If we're going to look at this game, look at it honestly. Stop being an idiot. Go on. Sorry, John.
Karl.
Yeah. Sorry, Karl. Sorry.
Yeah, definitely. You could tell that, we went out with the intention of not conceding an early goal. We definitely went up there to just soak up the pressure a little bit. And I thought our defensive display, it's not very often I say this, we defended okay for the first half of the first half, if that makes sense. The attacking wasn't the best, but we managed the game well. It almost seemed like in the first half, both teams were intent on not losing the game rather than not trying to win the game, if that makes sense. But I thought El Nene, he was dropping back, really, really well. He was helping out the defense. So I've got no excuses in the first half. I thought that one Kane chance, that one header, which, to be honest, he should have buried it, but he didn't. And that was it, because I can't think of that many other chances. And we marshaled the game well. Admittedly, we had a few counter-attacks where Ozil didn't quite, pick the right pass. And I think if he did, then we would have been in on goal. But the first half was managed very, very well. We released the ball when we should have. We defended well. The players were dropping back. The only, if I was to really think about if I had an issue with the first half, was our attacking. I don't think we had enough threat going forwards. And that was frustrating as well, because I thought that Tottenham could have been there for the taking. We could have run at them and sort of put them under a little bit more pressure, but we didn't, unfortunately.
Yeah, no, yeah. We didn't go for them at all, really, did we? We sat back in and we decided, right, let's hold what we've got. John, on the couple of occasions that we did have the ball, and we did try to force something, Mkhitaryan and Ozil were having a tough time, weren't they? They, passes are going astray. They weren't. I'm trying to be kind to them now, but they weren't at their best.
I'm not going to be kind. Mkhitaryan's new to the team, so maybe I should give him a little bit of a break. Had a shit time at United, but he came here, played really well against Everton. But let's be honest, Everton were shit, and made it easy for him to play against. If you want to be a top player, and if we want to be a top team in games like this, you've got to perform, even if you're not getting the ball a lot. And Mkhitaryan and Ozil, to be fair to him, weren't getting a lot of the ball. Mkhitaryan, I thought, worked hard in the first half, got back and defended, and you saw Monreal applauding him. But every time he got the ball, his passes were dreadful. That was like watching him at United. That was fucking useless. You can't do that. It's not good enough. People complained when Sanchez was in the team giving the ball away. Well, Mkhitaryan did that all today as well. Again, it's only, his third game. but against Tottenham, you've got to perform. Against any of the top teams, you've got to do it. In those passes, you're only going to get a few chances in a game like that, especially away from home. And you got to take them. And he wasted way too many. Ozil as well. Everyone celebrating him doing his new contract. I was happy he signed. It's great for the club. He's a big name, and it's good that we managed to retain him. But again, big game, completely disappeared, up his own arse most of the game. And this is why I like him when he's on song. He's beautiful to watch, and he's genius and just absolutely brilliant with a ball, and his vision's wonderful and everything. We couldn't find a pass today. Couldn't find a pass. It was honestly, it was pathetic. And I mean, there was one really, really good break we had, and it was 3-on-2. Ozil's got the ball. Played into Aubameyang. Aubameyang played it, or Aubameyang, sorry, you're supposed to say. Played it too wide, forced Mkhitaryan too wide. Then Mkhitaryan's ball back in was overhit, falls to Ozil, who then doesn't find the right pass. Just the front three today just weren't good enough. I don't think. I'll give Aubameyang a little bit of credit that he didn't really get any service. The one, you got that good ball from Jack, obviously, that got called offside, and we don't know what would have happened there because the play was already whistle was blown. But Ozil and Mkhitaryan just weren't good enough today. I thought they were really poor. I'll cut Mkhitaryan a little bit more slack because he did defend well, whereas Ozil didn't do anything and didn't protect Hector Bellerin at all in the game.
Okay.
Go on, sorry.
That's fine. A true gunner. I'm going to come back to you later in the questions on your commentary check. We're going to go through the saves in a bit. There's plenty of saves there. You couldn't have watched the game, pal. Karl, for the rest of the first half, you had one shot from Hector. You had the scum trying to get Mustafi booked for a handball. It was all much of a muchness. Now, John's just mentioned that the front three were ineffective, but their midfield dominated our midfield. We didn't control the ball at all in our first half. We'll go on to the second half of the bit. What were your thoughts on the midfield?
Tottenham always close down quickly, and we just never do that. They put pressure on us, and we just couldn't handle it. No matter what we tried to do, no matter how we tried to handle it, their midfield just dominated us and pressured us, and just we had no answer for it. Not an answer at all, and it was frustrating to see because you wanted the players to like release the ball early, and as much as Jack Wilshere tried to dominate, he wasn't. Xhaka was missing for the game. Genuinely can't remember anything that Xhaka's done in that game. Not a thing. He was ineffective. El Nene was probably our best midfielder because he was just dropping back and helping out the defense. Going forward, he wasn't a threat, but defending, he was. I just want to reiterate what John said. Mkhitaryan was really, really not good today. Absolutely not good. It's all well and good doing it against Everton at home. That's all brilliant, but do it away against Tottenham, and that's a different story. And this is why I refuse to get excited about the Mkhitaryan signing. I don't think I hope I'm wrong. I really do. And I hope he comes out. And I hope he's an absolutely brilliant signing. I really, really do. But, when one of your rivals is willing to give away a player, you have to wonder why. You always have to wonder why they're willing to give up a player. Ozil, like John said, was just ineffective today. He did absolutely
stick on we've spoken about the front three. Just stick on the midfield because, no offense, okay, I didn't see any of the three coming out with any credit.
No,
we were dominated. They dominated us.
Yeah, they were all over us, and we just couldn't handle it because every time we got the ball and tried to go forward, they just applied pressure on us, and they got the ball and we just gave it away. And that was unfortunate because I felt at the times that we could have gone forward and we could have done well, but Jack was ineffective. Xhaka was not at the game whatsoever. And the only person in that midfield three that was good enough was El Nene, and that's only because of his defending.
Okay. That was the first half. John, we went into the second half. We had a great block from Mustafi. They were piling on the pressure early. Cech set out this stall with doing, with kind of playing out from the back badly when he did Kane, but only just got away with it. And we looked shaky from the off. And lo and behold, Ben Davies on the left-hand side, directly from the clearance he made from that. The ball played across. We didn't put any pressure on from the midfield. Ozil's not dropping back. Davis has all the time in the world, puts a cross in, Kane goal. Go.
Yeah, it's the second half, the way it started. Tottenham came out. They weren't doing anything particularly different from the first half. It was the same thing, but we just, I don't know, just like switched off almost as if, we did our bit in the first half. We'll be all right now, and we just weren't at it at all. Like you said, no one closed Davis down. Ozil came inside it might have been towards Dembele or someone when he shouldn't have. Leaves Davies completely unmarked. Then it's up to Xhaka to come out to win, who we know hasn't got any pace, hasn't got there, so he doesn't get there in time. Ball comes in, it's a great ball, and Kane with a superb header. Could Koscielny and Mustafi have done better? Yes, they could have put him under more pressure, that's for sure. But I honestly, people won't like this, and people in the chat might complain, or people listen to this later. Kane's that good. He's a very, very good striker. There's a reason he's got so many goals. So the issue with him is you cannot let someone deliver balls into the box for him to attack. You just can't do it. And for the two centre halves, you have to at least put pressure on him. They might not win the header because he's just that good in the air. He really is. People don't like it. People don't like praising Tottenham players. That's fine, But Cos is out of position. Mustafi, they don't talk to each other. I don't understand it.
That's what it's going to come. That's what's going to come to. There was no sort of double teaming on him, was there? Yeah. They both stood there. They're both looking at it. Whilst he's attacking the ball, they're not. They're trying to defend, and this is the problem with the defensive setup. They're trying to defend. Meanwhile, in the first half, they went for him a little bit more. At that point, they should have been going for him, putting him off his stride, trying to stop him getting a clean header, and working in tandem. But there was none of that, was there?
One of them can stay tight to him and try and jostle him and, dig an elbow, that kind of thing. And the other one can try and attack the ball. They're marking one man. And the thing is as well, I know that obviously they sort of switched and Ali and Ericsson came inside a little bit more and sort of played more off him and tighter and didn't go so wide. But that's what El Neni was there for. He was, trying to cover in front of the defence and screen and pick up those runs. So they've got no one else to mark. But there is no point can you let crosses get in because you know how good he is in the air. You know how good he is to get to the near post to get onto a flick on or anything like that. You know that Son as well, who comes in at the back stick, that kind of thing. You can't let those balls come in. And in the first half, we did really well. We saw Monreal, you saw Mkhitaryan, like the good side of his game. He was getting in, he was closing down Trippier, who's got a great delivery, and he was really, getting onto the end of the crosses. Bellerin, who got no help at all in the first half, realistically, who was, standing, what's his name, Son up, and not being stupid or making like diving in the box or anything and blocking all those crosses because you know how dangerous they are from it. So just to completely just let Davies just have as much time as you want to swing the ball in is the biggest problem for me from that. The defending, could obviously definitely have been much better, but just don't let the cross come in the first place. You just cannot let it happen when you've got someone like Kane on the pitch. It's stupid.
No, I want to stick with this point because I think the cross is the big issue here, okay? If you look at us when that cross comes in, El Nene, Xhaka and Wilshere are providing a screen in front of the centre-backs, but not actually doing anything. Nobody's coming out to close. Ozil's certainly not coming back to help out at all, Karl. Why, this is the team this is the set that we played against Chelsea, and yet we still don't, we still don't get ourselves defensively right. What has to change? Because as much as there's the lack of communication between the two centre halves, I don't see the midfield, helping them at all. And ultimately, if Ozil's not going to get back, one of the midfielders has to come out and has to put some pressure on that cross. Talk to me.
Isn't that down to training, Jason? Like, clearly, if you train day in, day out, because obviously they train every day. They might have, 2 days off a week. But they train day in, day out. Now, you've got to get your tactics right. You've got to sit down with the players and say, right, if A happens, this is what you do. If B happens, this is what you do, and so on and so on and so on. They are clueless. That you can just tell that doesn't happen. And I know everyone's going to say, yeah, you don't know what happens on the training in the ground. And you're right. You're absolutely right. We don't. But if that happens week in, week out, and we get punished by those sort of mistakes all the time, you must know that we don't practice things like that. You two are absolutely both right. We have to stop that cross. And the midfielders are just letting it waltz in. And irrespective of how good Kane is, and like John said, Kane is very, very good. He absolutely is. That is, you've got to have a footballing brain and know, I've got to try and stop that cross. I've got to try and stop the threat. The threat, yes, is in the box with Kane, but also getting the ball into the box as well. Don't give him the ball. But yet we don't see that. We don't practice it. Why isn't someone absolutely running towards Davies to stop that cross? We just let it go in, and you're thinking to yourself, and I know it's easy for me to sit here on my sofa and say, stop the cross, but you should be able to see it. You're a professional footballer. You get paid thousands and thousands of pounds a week to play football, not just to attack, to also defend. And they're just not doing it. And it's got to be down to training. It has to be. There's nothing else, because you cannot be punished by the same mistakes time and time again and not fix them. And if we are training and we're not fixing them, then it's down to the personnel.
Yeah. And again, look, everybody's going to have a slate in here, because I thought we were gutless today. Absolutely fucking gutless. Okay, not one player. Cech made some great saves. Then the distribution was poor, and it was, but he did make some really good saves. But we had no fight. Second half, then, we didn't come out and we didn't really go for them. We didn't put pressure on midfield. Dembele just ran the midfield show, and it was awful. But if anybody in this chat box or listening to this podcast is expecting us to praise any fucker from our team today, they are joking, because they were dog shit to a man. John, straight after the Kane goal, Kane has another chance. We don't learn. Midfield's missing, defense is all at sea, and Ozil and Mkhitaryan aren't getting back, and you've got sort of a boomer. Oh, fucking Dan.
He's done, yeah.
I'm going to take his wheels off the wheelchair. Aubameyang ploughing a lone furrow up top. Then there's another Kane chance. He takes a dead-eyed shot at goal. Fantastic reflex save from Cech. Talk about it.
Yeah, I thought that the one before that, the header that he put wide, I mean, that amazed me. I thought he was going to score from that. And that was the same. That was almost a carbon copy of the first goal he scored, the goal he scored, just from the right-hand side. It was Trippier that time. And again, no one closing him down and giving him loads of time on the ball and letting him swing it in. But then the shot he had, I think, did that come from, was it a poor clearance from us? I can't remember. Or did they just keep it alive on the edge of the box? But he got hold of it. Great. Kane, again, really, really good hit of the ball. I think lucky for us that it was, at Cech, but he still had to react. And not only did he react, but he managed to, push it away from goal, not straight out and up at him, because he had no time at all to really do anything about it or reposition himself. So I thought that Cech today was, he made the bizarre let's do a Cruyff turn or whatever in front of Harry Kane thing. And his distribution was really poor. And then the one was it to Mustafi that he almost gave the ball away to Dele Alli. But the saves he made today, if it wasn't for him, honestly, it would have been 3-4-0 probably. Which wouldn't have been a unfair scoreline, to be honest. The amount of chances we gave them. But yeah, it was a weird mixed performance from Cech today. You can see that he clearly does need replacing, but he's still getting us out of a jam in games. And I think the other thing as well is that's to be said that you can't, have a pop at Cech, because to be perfectly honest, we're not doing anything to help him. The defense isn't helping him at all. They're making stupid.
I'm going to come to this now. I'm going to stick with you before I go to Karl. So if the distribution is poor, Okay, obviously, movement ahead of him must be poor as well, because that's all I could see was Mustafi for the out ball. I couldn't see Cech. Maybe that's the camera angle. I don't see our midfield coming back to help out the defenders either. Once again, this isn't just a symptom of Cech having poor distribution. It's a symptom of us having poor movement. And where are the guys to help him out?
I think it's funny because we can't really hit the ball long anymore. If we've got Lacazette up top, he's not going to win a header.
We had Aubameyang.
Aubameyang, it's Aubameyang, isn't it? I just so used to saying Aubameyang. Fuck it, Aubameyang, whatever. He's a tall guy, but he's not going to win your headers. He's not that type of player. Sorry to say, you're not going to win headers against Vertonghen and who do they have today? You're not going to win headers against them. Since we've lost Giroud, you're not going to have that long ball out to a player. And do you remember when we used to do the ball out to Sanya?
Yeah,
like that would be the goalkeeper's target to hit. I think the fact Cech is left-footed, Bellerin is okay in the air, but I don't think he wants to hit him. I think if anyone, he'd probably rather hit like Nacho, but I think because he's on the left-hand side, it's a bit more difficult. And you saw that a couple of times, the balls that went out, where he tried to hit to the left wing, I think to Nacho, and they were being overhit and too long. Because he's got limited options of where he can play that ball. Because if he can't play it on the ground, because Tottenham do press up so high, he's got to go long. And there's only a couple of people he can try and hit in the team, who we think are genuinely going to win it in the air. And it's maybe Xhaka, but then that's midfielder you're trying to hit, which is a little bit too short, maybe too close to goal. Or it's Nacho out on the left wing, which is then got to be bang on spot perfect because he's on the touchline.
But again, if you get three midfield, somebody has to drop in.
Yeah, and again, and that should be, in that case, I would hope it would be Elneny, because he's the one who's got the recovery pace and stuff today. That kind of thing confused me a little bit today, just that midfield three. Like, I thought it was going to be Elneny sitting, because we could then float from a back four to a back three, depending on, what was happening and where we were attacking. But a couple of times he was going beyond the midfield and going beyond Jack and Xhaka. And I didn't want to see that, because if Xhaka's the last man, he's got no recovery pace. So as soon as the ball's behind him, he's fucked. You're not going to get it. He's not going to get back to help out. So this is why I wanted it to be Elneny sitting the whole time, because if it does go past him, at least he's got that speed to come back and cover. But he should be helping out the defense there and trying to take the ball off Cech. But we don't have a player to hit anymore. This is the problem. You can't hit it long anymore.
Well, look.
Maybe if you got Welbeck on,
but it doesn't matter if you got somebody to hit. If you haven't got a man to hit, surely you drop back a bit. Your midfield comes back. You drop a bit shorter to give the players the out option, and we just don't do that. It's piss poor all round. Karl, we saw a challenge from Davis where he just missed Jack. If it wasn't for Jack's movement, he's 2-footed. He's off the ground. And he misses him. But bearing in mind he's 2-footed, he's off the ground, studs up, there's no book inch to talking to for the referee. What did you think of that?
I probably didn't see it as harshly as you did. Yes, 100%, he should have been punished for what he did. It would have been harsh if he'd got a red, if I'm really honest. And maybe we're probably looking at it with our Arsenal tinted glasses on, but
he's 2-footed. He's off the ground. He's gone for him. He's just missed. This is the fact of what's happened. Okay, so shouldn't that? I don't mean a red card there because he has missed him, but surely you should pick up a yellow card there.
No, definitely, he should have been punished for what he did. Most definitely, I didn't think the game was a nasty game today.
No,
I thought that the game was played, reasonably well. Considering it's a derby as well. Unfortunately, you do expect, certain challenges in a derby. We shouldn't, but we do. It's one of those things that happen in a derby game, and I thought the game was played quite well until the end. But I guess we'll talk about that later. But again, some of the fouls were let go, and probably for both teams as well. I think my issue with our midfield obviously is, yes, you got to defend Jack, and Jack's, all this stuff about glass ankles, and I want to protect Jack. I do, because I want him to play well week in, week out, and he didn't play well today. But I just want some of our players to fight a little bit more. I'm not advocating going out and injuring players, not in the slightest, no way. But if one of their kickers, fucking go and kick them back. Why not? Why don't we ever do swings like that? But we don't do it because we're the gentleman's club, we're the nice club, and it's all well and good playing football in the right spirit, and I'm an advocate of that. But sometimes you just don't. You want one of our players to go and stick it on them and just say, "Do that shit again to one of my players, and I'm coming back for you. Try me." Like, it doesn't happen, unfortunately.
No, absolutely agree. Absolutely agree. John, here we go. So then we have free kick from Ericsson, another good save from Cech.
Yeah. He didn't get it quite in the corner, Ericsson, but again, Cech gets a good hand to it, doesn't push it out, pushes it around the corner, does all the right things. I don't know. It was a weird performance from him today, and he's had a weird season. Like, I don't think everyone knows that I would have loved it if we'd kept Szczesny. I thought it was ridiculous that we sold him, and I think he would have happily have signed if Peyton had gone, and if we said to him, "Look, this is going to be Cech's last season as number one. He'll have the league. You can have all the cup games. If his form drops or he picks up an injury or whatever, you straight in. But from next season, you are number one, and Cech will take a back seat." And I'm sure Cech would have taken that. It's coming towards the end of his career. We probably could have offered him a coaching role. He's a great professional. He's someone I'd love to keep around at the club because he's got a lot of experience. He's a great pro, and I'm sure he'd probably make a really good coach. He's probably the kind of guy who'd actually make a decent manager as well. He's very level-headed and very intelligent guy. So why we sold Szczesny is beyond me. But yeah, he's had a weird season, Cech, and I think it is time to move on from him. I'd happily keep him as a backup if he's happy to do that. But it's definitely something we need to look at, in the summer. But he made really good saves today, and I think that's the one thing with him. His shot stopping's great. I don't think there's an issue there, but his distribution isn't great. His passing with the ball on the ground again isn't good enough. It's not quick enough. I don't think that's necessarily his fault. People say it's an age thing. I just think it's more a coaching thing because he's from an era of goalkeeper that didn't do that kind of stuff. It's very much a new modern day keeper thing, isn't it?
But again, you hear certain managers talk, and they would say, okay, even from a throw-in, you should have a plan for an exit strategy on it. Okay, you should have that also.
I think the other thing is you have to begrudgingly give Tottenham credit that they press very high up so that you can't pass out from the back with your goalkeeper. They did the same thing against City, and we're trying to force Ederson to kick long. The difference is that Ederson is, so good at passing that he can hit a, 40-yard diagonal pinpoint on someone's foot. The way that guy passes the ball, he could play in midfield. He's just that good with at his feet. But that's the new breed of goalkeeper. Cech is from the old school, is a bit different. He had a good and also wobbly game at times, but I don't blame him for the goal, and he kept it at 1-0 basically. If it wasn't for him, it would have been a lot worse. But again, good save.
Yeah, Karl, it will be an Elneny came off, and it will be in Lacazette came on. Not long afterwards, we had Jack cracking shot, edge of the box, bent it round, a decent save from Lloris. Did you think at that point, we're going to get back into this?
No, there was nothing in that game that gave me the enthusiasm that we was going to get back into the game. Nothing. We just wasn't creating that much. We had one shot on goal in 90 minutes. One. Now, that doesn't tell you everything you need to know about that. Again, nothing will. Going forward, we were just absolutely terrible. That Jack Wilshere shot, it was a decent shot, most definitely, and a good save from Lloris. You kind of wanted someone else to run on it just in case he spilt it. But it's almost like when we get into our box, no one runs into the box and applies pressure. It's really weird. It's almost like there's an invisible wall of our midfield when we get into the box, because no one, goes in case the goalkeeper spills it. Everyone just hangs up, almost waiting for the counter attack to get back. I think that the game, nothing, like I said, nothing in the game made me think, oh yeah, we're definitely gonna get back into this now. Nothing gave me a lift. The substitutions that come on, it was almost like, well, Iwobi, let's face it, he's not the best. He's not on form at the moment, I don't think. And Lacazette, one goal in, I think it's 13 games now, doesn't give you the impetus that we're really, really going to go on and score. So it was nothing really, gave me that drive. And I just think to myself, you can't go into a game against your rivals, have one shot in 90 minutes. It's absolutely ridiculous. It's really, really bad. And we just got to know what's stopping us from going on. What is stopping us from this mental block of away games? It seems that we have one.
Yeah, it's very frustrating, mate. Today was embarrassing, to be honest. No fluidity in our play. I keep on saying we're disjointed, but I don't think we're disjointed today. I just thought we lacked bottle today. There was no fight from anyone really, and we lost the battle. Our players up top lost the battle. Our midfield lost the battle. Our defense lost the battle, and Cech left one in as well, which unfortunately, cost. It wasn't his fault, but still they scored. So we were outplayed as a team today. John, the Cech Mustafi mess up happened then. Then we had a Cech save from Lamela. Really good save. Another Cech save from Trippier. Decent save. Then we had the Lamela booking. Again, another challenge off his feet. What's the rule on this? What are your thoughts? Because, as far as I'm concerned, if you're off your feet, you're out of control, and it's a red card nowadays.
Yeah, it's weird. I think, like Karl said earlier, you expect, sadly, a couple of nasty challenges in a derby, and I think that's why they end up as yellows. I think if that was in a normal game, maybe you get it as a red. But because of the atmosphere and because it is a little bit more charged and the tackles are a little bit hard and the way the referees let the game go, which I thought was okay, they put it as a yellow. If he makes contact, I think he'll get, I think it's a red. And also, yeah. I'm not entirely sure. Was he actually booked for the challenge, or was it more for the lip afterwards? Because he was having a right go barking back afterwards. So I don't even know if it was for the, because he did get booked for mouthing off, didn't he?
He seemed like
I'm not sure, to be honest. I'm not
sure which it was. I mean, he was still mouthing off afterwards as he was walking away, and it came up yellow card. So I don't know what it was, but yeah, I just think it's one of those things where, because it doesn't connect and it's in a derby game, they're just going to give a yellow for it. They're not going to give a red. But I get what you mean. It's that weird thing where, like, maybe the referee sees it that, he's gone to dive in for a challenge, sees he's not getting the ball, so that's why his feet are up in the air, and tries to rationalise it that way. Because I think in a referee's mind, I know he shouldn't think this, but in his mind, he always wants to keep 11 players on the pitch for both teams. He doesn't want to, kill a game.
Yeah,
and especially a big game. So they try and always keep it level with a number of players on the pitch, which I get, and I think it's better as a spectacle when it's 11v11. But sometimes, there is an argument for it. But in the fact he doesn't connect, I don't think it's a red. Yeah,
fair enough.
I get it. I understand why some people might call it, because he's reckless and actually. I think that whole thing, it's interpretation, isn't it? More than
I look at that. Sorry, mate. I look at that. I'm seeing Davis has done it earlier on. Had a talking to. Okay. Lamela's done it. To me, they're both red cards, and the fuckers should be off the park. If you're off your feet, you're out of control. The studs are up. It doesn't matter if you connect or not. You're off the fucking park. And this is the bit where there's no consistency again. There's no consistency in the game. Right, okay, so at this time, we've been dominated all over the pitch, up top, midfield, defensively. And then we get a couple of opportunities. There's a great through ball from Jack to Welbeck. He just couldn't collect it. Then there's the Lacazette volley, Karl.
Do you want to talk about the substitutions themselves first before the chances, Jace? Sorry.
Well, to be honest with you, I thought Iwobi was shit, and I thought Lacazette was shit.
Yeah, I mean the actual choices and where they played. Like
If you
before
want
the
to, yeah.
Welbeck
If you want to bring it up, go on, bring it up. Go on, carry on.
No, I just wondered what you guys thought of. So it was obvious he was going to have to do something because we were 1-0 down. So there's no point just trying to. You got to chase the game. And we didn't have a whole ton on the bench. Did it surprise you that it was Aubameyang who went to the left and not Lacazette?
No. I look at that and I think he wanted pace on that side. Mkhitaryan had a terrible game, but so did Ozil. Okay.
Yeah. I don't think the players who came off didn't particularly surprise me. I think there was an argument you could have maybe dropped Xhaka instead of El Neni in the middle.
But my point would be you could have taken off Jack, El Neni, or Xhaka. All three of them were poor.
Yeah.
Okay. All three of them were dominated in the midfield. Okay. Iwobi had a decent game last week. Okay. Iwobi played well last week, and fair play to him. But, the first thing Lacazette does when he comes on, he's offside. Come on, you've got to be sharper than that. The first thing Iwobi does when he comes on, he loses the ball. There was nobody on that bench to make a difference. Karl, what were your thoughts?
That's my issue, and I'm going to really give Rudy a boner right now, but that's why I was angry. And like I said in our chat, in our WhatsApp group, that I was almost annoyed at letting Giroud go. I really was, because Giroud gives you that threat when he comes off the bench. Right now, we've got no one on that bench who could come on and give you goals. With the greatest respects, and I know we'll get onto Lacazette later on in a second, but at the moment he's playing with no confidence, so you can't say he's a threat. Iwobi, I just think, is absolutely poor, and there was no one else in that midfield who was going to come on and say, yeah, you know what, he's going to get us a goal. At least with Theo was the most frustrating, annoying person, but he was always a threat. You always, in the back of your mind, you just didn't know what Walcott was going to do. Giroud would come on, and you just don't know what he would do. Him holding up the ball and him giving away his little pop passes, he could do it, and he could make a difference. On our bench, there's no one. And the goals that I think Walcott scored 19 goals last season. I think Giroud got maybe about the same. I can't remember, but right now we haven't got players in that squad to replace their goals, even if it's from starting or from the bench. So when the substitutions come up, it was just literally like, what do we do? This is why I didn't get excited. I didn't think, oh, you know what? Yeah, it's going to happen. Even Welbeck will run for days, but his finishing and his ball control and his ball retention is atrocious.
Yeah, but if you look at that, okay, we talk about losing. I was sad to see Giroud go and Theo, because there's something about them which I like, okay, but I found them both frustrating at times. To say that they'd have had a positive impact on this game, I'm not sure. I'm really not sure. And the bottom line is, if we wanted to go out and get Aubameyang, they had to move on. They just had to move on. Okay, so there's no point just crying over spilt milk. The problem I have with today is, Iwobi's had a good game last week. He needs to build on his confidence. He never got into the game. He was indecisive. But it was indicative of the team performance as a whole. It's not just his fault. It's not just Lacazette's fault. We were like that to a man. We did not do the business today. And we can pick on individuals, but we got to play better as a team. First half, we were solid. So why did we fall apart so quickly? Why did we fall apart that quickly? I know we were dominated first half, but second half, they bent us over the table and they fucked us hard. Okay, the amount of chances they had.
But Jason, it's like we were talking offline. What happened in that 15 minutes in that team talk? Like this, what? And I totally understand.
Let's be straight. Let's be straight. Sorry, they weren't told to go out and go and fall to fucking pieces, were they?
No, 100%. Go on.
And no matter what you want to say, you can't blame Wenger for this. The guys on the pitch let themselves down today. They were dominated throughout the game, okay? And there's enough caps on that park, okay, so that they could be better. They should be able to handle it, and they didn't. And, for all the business of so-and-so's got passion or so-and-so's got fight, nobody showed any fucking fight today. Nobody played off the park. Sorry, carry on.
Yeah, but you have to, again, the question is why? Why was we played off the park? Why could the team, whether it be Arsene Wenger or the players on the pitch, why couldn't they galvanize themselves to think we are playing away at a derby at Wembley? If you can't get up for a derby game at Wembley, you've got no hope. You genuinely have no hope. Now, why were Tottenham's players are not better than ours? I'm not having this. Yes, 100%. Harry Kane is very, very good. It kills me to say that, but he is. But out of the whole team, is he better than anyone else in the Arsenal team? No, he's fucking not. So why can't our players do better? Man for man, are Tottenham got better players than us? No, they haven't. And that's not me looking at it with my Arsenal hat on. Yeah. That is the actual truth. They are not better than us man for man. So why as a team, as a collective...
I think their midfield's better than ours.
Certain parts of our midfield, yes.
I don't think one of those players in our midfield today gets in their team. Not one of them. You name me one of our players that gets in their midfield today.
No, but our midfield is shockingly shit. It really is. But I think to myself, and I'm really trying not to look at this with my Arsenal hat on, but we are better than them. We should be better than them, and we are better than them. And you think to yourself, why, as a collective, can't we go and do the business? You can't.
Yeah, I know what you're saying, mate. I know what you're saying, but if you look at
that, I agree with Karl. I don't think their players are markedly better than ours. Maybe in like individual spots in certain places. I think it's too early to call whether Aubameyang is going to blaze it in the Premier League or not. In European terms, he's as good, if not better than Kane, I guess you would say, just because of his record. But you don't know about the Premier League yet. But the difference is their team plays with a structure and a defined plan. The midfield has a role. They all know what they're doing. Every single player in the team knows what they're doing, and they're constantly communicating. Our team doesn't do that. We don't have a plan. We seemed to have a plan in the first half, and then second half we didn't. It just collapsed, and the players just stopped doing what they were doing in the first half. Mkhitaryan, as bad as he was going forwards, stopped coming back to defend. The El Neni stopped covering the defence properly in the second half. All those kind of things just went out of the window, and it doesn't. It's the same thing every game. Even when we're at home and we're winning, we look like we start off. Whether we start off brilliantly or not doesn't matter, but we look like we have at least an idea of what we're going to do. And then as the game wears on, it just crumbles to bits. And as soon as we conceded the goal, the team just collapses mentally. You saw that they were just panicking. It was instant panic, and the Spurs players knew it. They could feel if you're a player on the pitch, as soon as the other team's if they're a bit worried and sort of looking at each other and don't know what to do, you can sense that as a player, and they just go for you. And we were lucky not to concede the second goals. And the thing that annoys me is that when we made those substitutions, we bring Lacazette on, who I don't forget, who has been desperate for goals, been in poor form. I think the last couple of games he actually hasn't played great, but at the same time he's had no service, so it's difficult to judge. But I think his attitude has been a little bit, he looks miserable. He doesn't look happy at all. He doesn't look like his head's in the game. But he gets two great chances that he completely wastes. I'm not saying he has to score from them, but you've got to at least hit the target. That's not good enough. That volley chance he had, he's got to hit the target. The other one, it's a good run. He's either got to hit the target or he's got to be aware that Aubameyang's inside him and play it and square it to him.
But there's a number of questions with that.
The thing with that as well, I understand why Aubameyang went left, because he's played left wing before. It was a good few seasons ago now, but he has played there before. The issue I've got with it is you've got a striker who's full of swagger, is in confidence, You know, he hasn't done a lot in this game, but he's been put through 1 or 2 times, and he looks like he's on it. And you move him left instead of playing him through the middle. Now we don't know, and it's all hindsight and everything. But if Aubameyang's playing through the middle, does he score those chances that Lacazette got? And then when
That's
Welbeck comes on,
hypothetical.
yeah, I know, but I'm just saying, you know. And then when Welbeck comes on, you think Welbeck, who has played wide loads, works really hard. Aubameyang's still playing out on the left.
Didn't get that as well. Didn't get that.
Yeah, I did that. I got very. I was like, okay, I can see it with. I'll stomach it. I still think I would have rather it the other way around. When Welbeck comes on as well, I'm like, play Welbeck wide. That guy don't score goals. I know people love him and his work rate, and I do, and I think he's a wonderful squad player, and he works really, really hard, and I love that, and he's got great energy. But he's not a very good finisher. Don't put him through the middle.
I agree. I totally agree with the Welbeck point. I think if I was looking at that setup when Iwobi and Lacazette came on, I want Aubameyang's pace to make a difference there, because we weren't being effective on the sides, and with that front three, with that pace, you're able to come up and support the striker. But let's talk about the misses. There's 2 misses. Karl, to you first. The volley. Go.
You've got to get on target. I'm sorry. I'm not having any excuses. You have to get that on target. He had time. He's a striker. This is what he does. This is his bread and butter. This is what you should be in training, practicing day in, day out. You've got to get on target. Yes, you could have said he was a bit nervous coming on and his confidence is not really high at the moment. He's got 1 goal in 13 games. I get that. But you've got to get on target. And, even if he got it on target and he didn't score, you'd be like, oh, wow, he got it on target. Right, let's get the corner or whatever. But at least he's tried. The fumble around in the box. One of our players could have put it in. You never know. But you've got to get on target. I'm sorry. I'm sick and tired of making excuses for him at the moment. Yes, he's coming to a new league and he's adjusting to the league and, all of that. But things like that, bodies like that, time, the space you had, nah, there's no excuse for that. There's no excuse in the world that he couldn't get that on target. And I'm not saying he's got a rifle that in the top corner. Yes, I would have loved it if he did, but not to get it on target, for it to go high and wide. Imagine if that was flipping Lukaku. We will be going mad. Ha ha, look at him. Fuck, nah. I'm angry, probably more angry about that chance than I am about the other chance. You have to get that on target. That's ridiculous. You cannot sit there and say, or make excuses for him not at least hitting the target, at least forcing a save out of the goalkeeper. That was really bad, really, really bad. And I'm not making excuses for him anymore. Really, no, I'm just sick and tired of it now.
Yeah, I see a point. I got to be honest with you. I like Lacazette as a player. His lack of pace is costing him in this team, I think. But I've heard a lot, really, with the signing of Aubameyang, or how does Lacazette feel? Quite frankly, I couldn't give a fuck how Lacazette feels. You're a professional footballer. You've got to work hard. You've got to earn your right to be in the team. And he's had 2 golden opportunities today. Now, John, we're going to come to the second one. He's come in. He's done well. He's won the ball, off a good pass. He's been smart on the defender. He's not forced the keeper to do anything. He could have tried to go wide, tried to win the penalty. He could have tried to chip him, but he puts it wide, and it was well wide by the end. That I found really shocking, because I thought that would have been his bread and butter. What were your thoughts?
Yeah, I thought it was going to be a goal. I was like ready to jump out of my seat, excited. It was really good ball from Iwobi, from very deep, actually. Really, really good pass. It was the one thing he did in the game when he came on. And it was a great run by Lacazette. And it was that thing that we've been talking about, where in the games where we praised him for all his hard work, where he's on the shoulder, he's trying to find that little bit of space, and he's not as quick as Aubameyang, but he's got that intelligence to see where there is a gap. He makes a really good run. Iwobi plays a great ball in. And I thought it was just like, oh, it's going to be a goal. Just because I've seen him do it for Lyon so many times. And just like even hit the post, or go closer and make the keeper work. Aubameyang's inside as well, and then in hindsight, it looks like maybe you should have squared it. But I don't have a problem with him going for the goal, but you got to hit the target. It's so frustrating, and that is the difference. I know I'm not saying that he's finished at Arsenal by any means. Jesus, we only just signed him. You know, sometimes it takes a player a year, you know, to adapt to the league. But especially in the big games, and with us at the moment, particularly away from home, we do not create many chances. For all the Ozils and Mkhitaryan's and Jack Wilshere's and whatever we've got in the team, we do not create a lot of chances for our forwards. So when you get them, you've got to take full advantage of them, and he just didn't do that today. And again, for anyone who thinks I'm digging him out, if that was Aubameyang as well, I'd be saying exactly the same thing. I'd be saying exactly the same thing. You've got to, those from those two chances. If it's Aubameyang, if it's Lacazette, if it's Giroud, I'd say if it was Welbeck, although I wouldn't expect him to hit the target because, to be honest, I don't think he's the greatest finisher in the world. I love him I love you to bits, Danny, but you're not a goal scorer. But you've got to hit the target from those positions. Everything building up to it is great. You know, the one for the volley, the space he finds, you know, he calls out the pass. It's a great pass into him, and he's find that gap, and he could have brought it down. Didn't have to hit it first time. The second one where he puts it wide, just if you don't do that, if you don't make the keeper work, it's not going to be good enough. And the longer it goes on, he seems to me I don't know as much about him as say Chris does. I've seen all the highlights from Lyon, and I watched Lyon games when he was there, and he was great. But he seems very much a confidence player, you know, as I think all strikers are to a certain amount. But I think the difference is some strikers have that complete arrogance about themselves that they can go 10 games without a goal and they're still fine. He doesn't look like that kind of striker. He looks like he's the kind of guy who maybe needs a hug, and he's got to get one, you know, a couple of goals, like run of games with goals to really build his confidence up. And the problem is, I don't think he's going to get minutes. Like, I don't think he's going to get time in the Premier League. That's the big issue he's got, because he's the only guy we can play in the Europa League, really. You know.
Well, the truth of the matter is, he's not earned a place in the team at the moment.
Yeah, that's the other thing as well. Right. When he came on today, he could have those two chances. He could have said, "Look at me, boss.
Yeah,
I've just banged one in on the volley, and then taken another one as well, and I've come on and I've won you the game in a game that we probably didn't deserve to win." You know.
Yeah, this
pick me for the next one. You know.
Yeah, this is the truth of the matter. All these guys, not one player, other than maybe Cech with his saves, but not with his distribution. Today, put their hand up to say, I should be starting in this team day in, day out. You know, game in, game out. Not one of them did. You know, Monreal average, Hector better than majority the rest of the defense. Mustafi and Koscielny all at sea at times. Yeah, El Nene, Xhaka, and Jack. Shit. At least Jack put some good through balls through, though. You've got to give him credit for that. It will be when he came on, one good through ball, that's it. Ozil and Mkhitaryan, awful. Aubameyang didn't have much to work with. Tried hard, but did nothing. Lacazette, poor. And that's the problem. That's the problem. It was... the only thing impressive for us today was Cech saves, to be honest. Right, guys, the chat box. We can go for an hour now. We're going to go to some questions. If you've got some questions, please put them in the box. Also, the guys, everybody gives up their time for free on ABW Radio. We don't get anything out of it. Yeah, it's done to, hopefully your enjoyment. If you could give us a thumbs up, would really appreciate that. So, give us a thumbs up or a thumbs down, whatever. But, it's great to see the chat box been really interesting today. Been some really interesting thoughts in there. So, thank you for supporting us as usual. We're going to go to the first question. I'm going to come to Karl on this. Actually, before we do that, sorry, True Guna. Tell me the saves that Cech made. So we've got the one from Kane. You got the one that was a great save, good save from Eriksen, free kick. Then you've got the save from Lamela. Then the save from Trippier, amongst others. There were 4 very good saves there. 4 very good saves. So you got to look at that, mate. Because I agree with you on the distribution, but on that, give the man credit for the saves. Okay, so first of all to you, Karl. Jeffrey O'Hara asks, will we get to see Kolasinac or Ainsley Maitland-Niles in midfield this season at all?
maybe Ainsley Maitland-Niles, but Kolasinac, no, I don't think he'll ever play midfield. I think in the Europa League they'll definitely play 100%. I think our Europa League squad, with all our, getting rid of some of the players that would have played midfield, the likes of Kokanen, the likes of Theo Walcott, there's going to be games that Ainsley Maitland-Niles will definitely come into midfield and play, most definitely. But in the Premier League, no, definitely not. And I can't see Kolasinac playing in midfield. We didn't buy him as a left midfielder, and even how we play our wingers, we play them high up the pitch, and I very much doubt that Kolasinac or Arsene Wenger will trust Kolasinac playing that high up the pitch, because he hasn't done anything offensively to warrant being in the squads as a left winger. So the answer to that, to Kolasinac, no. To Ainsley Maitland-Niles, yes. I think he definitely will play in the midfield, and Europa League, you'll probably see him starting in midfield.
Yeah. Okay, John. Archie asks, do you trust Wenger to buy what we need in the summer?
I mean, no, probably not, to be honest. I'm not going to lie. We've just gone through a January transfer window where it was weird, and we had to replace the goals we lost, because we lost Sanchez, Walcott, and Giroud. I know 3 players that aren't everyone's favourites. We got Aubameyang, great. We got Mkhitaryan, great if he performs at Dortmund levels. I don't think they were. They're not bad signings. They're good signings. They're good, but we didn't address the needs in the team. We didn't address the fact we haven't got a proper centre mid who can boss a midfield. We haven't addressed the fact that we haven't really got a top quality centre back who will command the defence properly. All these things. Are these things that will get done in the summer? I hope. Will Arsene do them? I have no idea, to be honest. I think it's something I hope that Sven Mislintat and that are going to be looking at, but
let's be honest.
The issue is, right, let's say we got those players. Even if we got those players, the problem is I've got no confidence in the manager to use them correctly. That's the other big issue. So I don't know.
Okay, that's fair enough. No, that's fair enough. Right, Karl. Here we go. Rudy Rastlos asks, how does Laka deal with this? Giroud didn't care what people thought. He came back again and again and again. How will Laka cope?
I think, like John said, I think Lacazette looks like a player that does need a hug. He does need the cotton wool. He needs to be sat down with and said, come on, you're a good player. Come on, you can go, you can do it. He looks like he just needs a goal to just go in, even if it's off his backside, off his knee, off his chest. He looks like he just needs to score. And then once he scores, and if he gets a run of games, he'll do well. And I mean this as no disrespect, that in the Europa League, I'm hoping that he bags a hat-trick. We're playing a team that's, to the best of my knowledge, and I may be wrong, is for the part-time players. So I'm hoping that, and I can't remember the name of the team now, and it's really embarrassing.
It's Östersunds.
That's the one. And I'm hoping that he goes there, and with the greatest respects, I'm hoping that he absolutely kills it. I hope he gets a hat-trick, because he's going to be starting, and as long as he gets a service, I'm really hoping that we batter them. And even if it's just for Lacazette to gain confidence, to go there and say, look, I've got 1, or I've got 2, or I've got 3, and hopefully that will find his form, and then he can sort of play with a swagger. I really want him to do well. I do. I'm not writing him off. I'm not, because it does take time for players to sort of adjust to our league, but I'm increasingly finding it very hard to defend him the way he's playing at the moment.
Yeah, no, I think that's fair comment, mate. I think one of the things we should get across to everybody who listens to this show is, I want Lacazette to do really well. I think he could. I want Iwobi to do well. We all want all our players, Jack, Ramsey, Xhaka. We want them all to be brilliant. We want to be winning games. We really want this to happen. But again, we're not going to be scared to call them out when we think they played badly, and more to the point, we think they can do better. There are some times you can see youngsters come on, they're still learning the game. You'll give them a bye. But on this occasion, I don't think anybody deserves a bye today. I really don't. You know, I mean, Bellerin was, as people have said, Bellerin was the brightest of our outfield players. He really was. You know, he worked hard. You know, Jack put in a couple of really good through balls, but that was it. That was it today. And that's the problem. John, King for the Day asks, oh, God, stop putting questions in there, boys. We're going backwards now. You gets... sorry, Michael Hahnemann asks, do you think Mkhitaryan put too much effort into his debut last week and that he's used up all his assists for the season in one game? That's brilliant.
Oh, that's a great question. I mean, I was about to say some stupid throwaway comment like I could have got a hat-trick of assists against Everton in that game, but no, he was really good in the Everton game, and Everton were very poor, but it was a nice, comfortable game for him to play in. Today was very different. Things didn't go right for him at all, and his passing was way off. The one thing I would like to say as well, it's really annoying. Lots of commentators and lots of people on Twitter are making out like Mkhitaryan and Aubameyang are this like duo wonder team that blitzed the Bundesliga and like Champions League and stuff for Dortmund. It wasn't just Mkhitaryan. They haven't got some like telepathic understanding. It was lots of other players in the team. And like when we did the interview with Rafi Honeystein, which if you haven't listened to, little plug, go and listen to that. It's very good. He talks about it and says, you know, obviously, yes, they will have a certain level of understanding, but it's not like you know, the way that people talk about Kane and Ali that season when they played really well together, or you know, Bergkamp and Henry, you know, something like that. It's not that level. So you're not going to expect it every week from him. The one thing I will say for him today, that as much as he annoyed me with his passing and it was really poor, and his final ball, like he could have put Aubameyang in twice today, it would have been clean through. What he did do was get back, you know, and make challenges. Not in the second half, sadly. His head did go, but in the first half, he was working really, really hard and putting tackles in. So at least he's getting, you know, that side of his game.
Okay, but do you also think, if you look at the setup against, obviously we played a different setup against Everton, but you had somebody in Ramsey who makes that extra man going forward. Today, you know, that's not any. We had no midfielders who do that naturally today, and so there was that lack of an extra runner for the midfield, and we were dominated in midfield. So those opportunities were few and far between.
He didn't have anywhere near as much time on the ball, you know, that kind of thing. He was under a lot more pressure today than he was in the Everton game. He didn't have an easier pass. He didn't have the space to turn on the ball and then try and make something happen, or like time to look up so quickly. So I was disappointed with pretty much everyone on the pitch today. But I'm not going to write off Mkhitaryan. I saw how good he was at Dortmund. He's got the ability. You just got to give him time.
Okay, cool. John. Oh, Karl. Sorry, Karl. I called you John twice. What the hell's wrong with me? K-Man.
My beard ain't shit. Oh, my stubble's not shit. I just...
K-Man 1867 asks, should we pass back more?
Do you know what? We do pass backwards an awful amount. It is ridiculous the amount of times that's our sort of get out of jail free card. You know, nothing on, back to the goalkeeper. Look up, nothing on, back to the goalkeeper. Listen, if that keeps us the ball and we retain, and you know, and we can start attack again, by all means. But yes, it is worrying the amount of times we do it. But I'd rather do that than to lump it upfield and give the ball away.
That's fair enough. Yeah. We give away cheaply today too often. King for the Day asks, what's wrong with our away form? I'll answer this one. I genuinely don't know. You know, we've always been strong away from home in the past few years, and this season we've fallen apart early doors. I think the biggest thing is down to is what we do without the ball. You know, because we dominate teams like Stoke, Swansea, etc. You know, we dominate possession against them, but we're not effective off the ball. We don't close down well enough. You know, we don't have that setup where we're disciplined. We kind of, too many players don't take responsibility. And, you know, it doesn't matter who you put out there. You know, we've got X amount of players on the pitch today who are dog shit, but they're not alone. You know, there are players who aren't playing today who've been dog shit away from home as well. So, you know, we need to work out how we play without the ball, you know, because the bottom line is it's as big a part of the game as what you do with it when you have it. And we're not quite as effective as we should be. Well, not quite as effective, but we're nowhere near as effective as we should be without the ball. And that's our big problem. Joe Madeira, 1993, asks, what is Lacazette thinking right now and how does he go about getting his form back?
Who's that to, Jace?
John.
Oh, right.
No, when I say John.
No, you didn't. You didn't.
I mean,
you asked anyone, yeah.
I said John. Sorry.
How does he? The issue is he gets his form back by playing, but so he's got it's Europa League this week, isn't it? Coming up on Thursday.
Yeah.
So that's his first chance. You know, you've got to get some goals. He's got to be helped by the team. They've got to help him out. This is the other thing. Your teammates have to look around and they have to look at strikers and say, look, he needs help there. You know, we've got to, you know, help him out here. If he can get some goals, he gets his confidence. The issue he's going to have is that when it gets back to the league, I still think Aubameyang's going to be picked over him the majority of the time. We haven't got the FA Cup to play in, so he hasn't got those games. We've got the League Cup final obviously coming up. I assume Aubameyang's fine to play in that. I don't see why he wouldn't be.
Yeah.
Again, so I don't know if he's going to get picked in that. So he's basically, he's really got to put in a performance in the Europa League, and then after that, he's just got to do it in training over and over again. And when he gets, you know, I assume he's probably going to come on for 10, 15 minutes in games. You know, he's going to have to really put in the performances then. And the issue is that, say it's a home game and it's been in the trend that we've had lately, that, you know, where we might go 3 or 4-0 up and the second half we're a bit flat, it's going to be really difficult for him to affect it. So he's going to have to come on and really work hard and try and make things happen for himself. So I think it's going to be really difficult for him. I hope it works out, but I just think it's just going to be the lack of minutes that's going to do him in at the moment. That's his big issue.
Yeah, but you know, he's got the Europa League games. He needs just to go back to basics and work hard, doesn't he? You know, it's all about working hard. There's no secret. Cristiano Ronaldo's one of the best players in the world. He puts the effort in the training pitch and translates it on the pitch, and that's what great players do.
Yeah.
Karl. Thunder Road asks, if Ramsey was fit, who would have been in the starting lineup? Not what you do, but what Wenger would do. Karl, you were mute. Karl, can't hear you.
Is that better?
That's better.
All right, sorry. It would have been exactly the same team, but apart from Wilshere wouldn't have been in and Ramsey would have been in. So exactly the same team, but Wilshere for Ramsey.
Maybe. I'm not sure with the setup. I really think he might have changed the setup if he had Ramsey fit, but who knows? Who knows what Arsene would do? Arsenic Gunner in case. Question. Underperforming or poor quality. What is our problem? I want us all to answer this one now. I'm going to start with you again, Karl. Are we underperforming or are we poor quality?
Bit of both, to be honest. I'm not going to carpet this up, but you know, some of our midfielders are not good enough. You know, Xhaka is not good enough. He really isn't. Koscielny, he's a brilliant defender, but at the moment he's not playing very well. So if someone's not playing very well, you shouldn't really be in the squad. Unfortunately, we have no one else to play. So Cech at the moment is not playing the best. You know, he saved us today brilliantly, but he's not really doing well and underperforming. Definitely, of course we are, because we are better than we are this. We are much better. Our away form is atrocious. So it is genuinely a bit of both.
John?
Yeah, I agree with Cole. It's a bit of both. I think the squad is lacking in certain areas. We're still lacking and have been for years a proper centre mid. who's really going to boss the midfield. It doesn't have to necessarily be a DM. I know everyone wants one. If we've got a brilliant DM, fine, that's great. I think we've got too many flaky players with certain games. Love Ozil, but I do think if the game gets very tough and if it's not going our way, he won't show up in it. It's partly to do with the way he plays as well, because of his play style, that he needs the team around him to be performing well. So that doesn't help. So I think it's a combination of certain players underperforming, the manager's underperforming for sure, and we're lacking in certain areas in depth, because sometimes you look at other teams sometimes, and if it's not going well for them, they'll change the side up a lot. We can't really do that with our squad. There isn't a lot we can change about it. You're swapping one player for another player of lesser quality to try and switch things up. It's not going to do anything. It's just going to make things worse, to be honest. So a lack of depth is definitely a problem.
Yeah, I think I'd add to that as well. When we see players come into the team, if you look at sort of Maitland-Niles now, or if you look at Jack, for argument's sake, or if you look at a Warby, you look at players, and all of a sudden, they have a couple of good games. The same happened with Kolasinac and Holding, and all of a sudden, people think they're world beaters, and people don't actually look at what are they producing, how are they integrating with the team, and how are we best utilizing them. And when you give somebody a bit of stick for a poor performance, all of a sudden, why are you dissing so and so? Well, he hasn't played very well. When you actually look at what's happened there, and if you look back at the stats of some of these players, and it's not all about stats, but stats they do tell you a story. These players aren't as great as we've made them out to be, and so what certain fans perceive as quality isn't as great as it makes out to be. It really isn't, and and I agree with you, lads. It's a combination of both, where we've got a lot of very good players in the squad, but we need to find the right system, the right pairings, and enable them to perform better. On Ozil today, by the way, he was shite, and that free kick at the end was an embarrassment, and his moaning. Karl. Michael Harriman again. Thoughts on Wenger coming out and saying we didn't have enough money to sign Johnny Evans after buying Aubameyang?
I think that may have been taken. I think that was
that's the best one yet.
I think that's taken out of context. I genuinely do, because there's no way we didn't have enough money. I think it may have been almost along the lines of we weren't prepared to pay the money for Johnny Evans, rather than we didn't have enough money. Of course, Johnny Evans would have been maybe 15 to 20 mil.
They were asking 30 million apparently.
Well, that's what I'm saying. So I think it was more of a case of we wasn't prepared to pay that sort of money, rather than we didn't have enough money. If you get what I mean, I think it was slightly taken out of context of what he said, and people have ran with the negative connotation of it rather than the other way.
I think it's also partly down to wages as well. I think if we went back for Evans in the summer, we could get him regardless of whatever the price. But I think it's the wage cap that we got to meet. The Premier League wage cap for FFP that is actually enforced, not the European one, which isn't enforced, obviously, as you can see by all the other teams just completely ignoring it. But yeah, I think it was that whatever wages he wanted, we were probably happy to pay it, but it would put us over, and then we'd get whatever penalty it would be. So come the summertime, when the season resets, and then you can up your wages again. If we went back in for Evans, then I'm sure we could get him.
I think it's a balancing act as well. There's players who need to be resigned, and they have to leave space in the wage cap for that as well. Would you have made? Darian Gray asks, would you have made a difference today, John?
It's very tough to say. I don't know. He's very vocal, Evans, and he's very experienced. He's won titles. I know people say because he's at West Brom and everything else, but he's been coached by Pulis. He's been coached by Ferguson and all the obviously different coaches he had at United. So got a lot of experience, and he's a leader. I don't know if he would make a difference. The one thing I would say is that if he was in the team, I think the midfield would be a lot more aware of what's going on. and what's behind them and what's around them, because he would be directing them and saying, El Neni, drop 5 meters, or take 2 meters to the right, or that kind of thing. And I don't think at the moment Koscielny and Mustafi are doing that enough with our midfield. And as a midfielder, you don't want to be constantly swinging your head behind you, going, "Am I picking up this player, or am I passing them on to the centre back?" I need to be told. I want my centre back to say to me, "No, that's your man. Go with him," and you drop. Or "No, I've got him. Stay." That kind of thing. So I think he'd help in that regard. Whether we would have made a difference today, I really don't know. It's too, you can't say.
Okay, fair enough. Karl, Jeffrey O'Hara asks, will we persevere with the formation we used today, or do you see us experimenting with different formations for the end of the season?
I think different games cause different formations, and I wouldn't want us to stick to one formation all the time. Sometimes you need to try and surprise the opposition. There's not going to be in every game that we need to play 3 midfields, play Elneny as sort of a defensive midfielder. There are times that we can actually go for teams. So I think we will see a combination of all different formations before the end of the season.
Okay, cool. That's I totally agree with you. And this is the last question of the day, and so I'm going to ask you all this. Unique79 asks, compared to the old days when Arsenal had players who took their own initiative on the pitch, why are our current players not doing that? John, I'll start with you, then you, Karl.
I think one is how players are coached these days. I think there's a serious lack of those kind of proper players who can coach themselves and have that intelligence on the pitch. They're very few and far between now. There was a lot more of them previously. There's a lot more competition to get those players as well, and the very best ones are always at Toni Kroos at Real Madrid, or Neymar at PSG, that kind of thing. We're never going to get those sort of players. And also, the management style is very different now. The speed of the football is increasing every single year. Players are coached like to every single tiny little detail. You see that from all the young managers in the Bundesliga. You see it to the Premier League guys, like Pochettino, what he does at Spurs, Pep at City, and the big thing is you see, big managers like Mourinho, very good manager, very successful. People say checkbook manager, agree, disagree, whatever. But he's a very good manager. He knew what he was doing. Not going so great for him now. The way football is played is different, and the way players are coached, they don't do it on the pitch anymore. They've got to be told and informed, and everything's all in a video for them and that kind of thing. I think that's the big difference now. It's just the way players are brought up. They don't have that on the pitch intelligence as they used to.
Okay, Karl?
Almost exactly the same as John. I think players are told what to do, where to stand, where to run so much, is that when something changes and they have to think for themselves, they can't. And it's a bit worrying. It's almost think when there's a different tactic in the game, and a team will say, okay, I'm now going to do this, because it hasn't been put down on the flip chart for them. They don't think, oh no, I'm being double teamed, what do I do now? Or this is happening, what do I do now? Because they haven't been told exactly what to do. And I think that's probably one of the main problems of why you don't get players like the olden days. And it's not a case of ability, because you'd have to say, the way some coaching is, the players' ability should be more. But it's just the way I think teams are set up now, and the on-field intelligence. There is no on-field intelligence anymore. Theo Walcott was a great example of that. Ability-wise, Theo Walcott had it. On-field intelligence, he had none. He absolutely no footballing brain whatsoever, and you have to question the reason why.
I got to be honest. I think maybe academies have something to do with it. It's coached out to them at a young age. It's playing in totally different times now. A mate of mine from back home was an apprentice at the Arsenal. He captained the FA Cup youth winning team, the team with Adams, the team with Keown, Rocastle, all these guys, and it's a different world. By the time he'd have captained that team, he'd have been a millionaire nowadays. And they're pampered. There's so much pressure on them. But as well as that, I genuinely believe if you look back through the years, I saw the same things happening to Georgie Graham teams. I think there are very few special players out there in the league, and there weren't that many before. I remember seeing seeing us play Coventry beginning the season and getting humped 3-0 with who's that fat twat on TalkSport, Mickey Quinn.
Oh yeah.
And put a hat-trick in against us. I think we look back sometimes and we look back at rose-tinted glasses. People say, oh, yeah, you wouldn't see Adams and Keown defending like that. Well, guess what? They fucking did the times. They did. We rewrite.
We were seriously spoilt by that Invincibles team.
Yeah, but they still made.
Oh, they still made mistakes. Yeah.
And actually, okay, if you look back through time, okay, any club, okay, don't lose the league more than they win the league. That's a fact of life. But we look back at rose-tinted glasses, and the truth of the matter is, I don't think it's any different now. I think the game has changed and players have changed with it. The great players, the Ronaldos, the Messis, etc. The great midfielders or whatever. They will always be the cream of the crop, okay, and they will always manage the game. But more teams play with structure nowadays, and and that's what will win you games more often than not. But I think we look back at it, and I think if you actually go back, it doesn't matter what sport you're in, it was better back then. I think it's rubbish half the time. I genuinely think it's rubbish half the time. I think the truth of the matter is we are where we are. When things go well for us, yes, they manage games. When it goes badly, everything's shit.
Yeah. I just think those type of players that can manage a game themselves on a pitch and direct the other players on the pitch in their own team. So, when something's changing, when the tide's turning, when you're getting under a bit of pressure, like getting the team to sit and actually getting them all to do what that player wants intelligently. There's so few of those type of players anymore, and there wasn't a ton of them before. I just think there's even less now. Even less. But
that's the point. There wasn't that many before, is that? I mean, we've all seen very good teams fall apart in certain games. We saw Dortmund and Bayern a few years ago put 4 past Barcelona and Real Madrid.
Yeah,
in the Champions League semi-finals. Yeah, it does happen. Right, that's it, guys. That is it. What a bag of wank. What a bag of wank that was. My thanks to you, John.
No worries, pal. Pleasure to talk as always.
Always good. Karl, you're a star. Thank you very much as always, pal.
Anytime, Jason.
Cheers. Big thanks to the chat box. You've been superb today. A lot of really good chat in there. If you can hit the thumbs up button, we'd really appreciate that. This coming week, the podcast will be out on Monday or Tuesday. I think you're on it, Karl?
Yeah, I am.
You got a busy week this week, pal. You got the radio show on Thursday as well.
Yeah, we need to talk about that.
Oh, here we go.
Yeah, I just realized something. I need to talk about
that. Okay, so big thank you to everyone in the chat box. You've been superb as always. Well played. Podcast this week with Karl. And on Thursday, we have the Ostersons radio show. Myself and Danny will be on it. Obviously, Karl won't be anymore. Forget. And look, guys, it's a crap day today, UK. Not very good, but chin up, onwards and upwards. Keep it Arsenal. Take care.